So the next thing we're going to work on is creating our custom built-in unit. And so you're going to have a few built-ins, but we're going to start with this one in the corner because it'll kind of give you all the tools you need to do the others as well. So when you're doing your built-ins, the easiest view or the best view to start with is actually going to your 3D. And just the default 3D, click on the house. And it will, let me turn this off, show you what to look for. So it'll come in and you'll have your 3D view. Under properties, you want to find section box. Yours will be turned off, so you want to check it to turn it on. And this is going to pull up this box here that's going to allow you to adjust what you're seeing in the 3D view. So a couple things with this. You can use the drag tools to adjust it. And then you can either use this click and drag it to turn it and rotate it for pivot. Or if you hold the shift key and then push in on your wheel and turn that, it will turn it as well. And you can pivot that way. So whichever is easiest for you. But go ahead and pivot so that you can see the opening where you want to draw. And then I'm going to adjust my arrows to really kind of isolate that view as it goes through. And the reason I'm doing this is to get rid of any walls that would be kind of in front of the area and make it hard to see the space as it goes through. So I'm just going to keep edging that until that's open. Now, the next thing I do is it's going to show you up here what's the closest view that you're looking at. So I'm just going to click once on this, and it's going to go to an elevation view of that, which is what I want to draw in. So now that I have that, I can clearly see this elevation view where I'm going to draw. And it's going to work. Basically, you're going to draw the elevation first, and you will adjust a couple of points of information that will then create a 3D view of it. So we're going to keep it simple, all the same depth right now as we go through. So you're going to come to component and you're going to choose model in place. Model in place is what you want to use whenever you are doing a built-in item that's specific to the project. So for instance, this size of this unit is going to be very specific to the space that it's going in. And I wouldn't necessarily use it in another project. You're going to choose the category that it fits best in. So typically, it's going to be either casework if you're doing built-ins, or sometimes you might use the wall category, which is down here as it goes through. So we'll use casework. We're just going to hit OK. And then we're going to title it. So this is going to be, we'll say kitchen built-in unit 1, because we'll have more than one item. Hit OK. Everything will have to have a unique name, so kind of keep that in mind. So then you're going to choose which method you're going to use. We're going to use Solid Extrusion. This is the simplest way where basically you're going to draw a 2D shape and then extrude it to a 3D form. The next thing you need to do is tell it which wall you are drawing on. So you're going to come up here to Set Work Plane. You're going to choose Pick a Plane and OK. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to make sure that I'm choosing this wall that I want to draw on for it to come through. Once you have that, your little crosshairs will come up and you'll have your model lines where you can start drawing with it. And from here, you're going to come and basically start adding your lines. You'll see the dimension. You can enter the dimension that you want. So if I want it to be 2 feet, and then just continue to draw it. You can measure the top of this, which is at 7 feet, and come across here. And from there, you can also use your offset tool. So let's say we want a 2-inch frame on it. When you come in, you'll notice like as I move over the line that I want, it's going to show a dashed line to where that line's going. So I can easily place my frame. And this bottom line, we're actually we want it to be a 3-inch to match up with the standard toe kick. So, and I'm actually just going to kind of come across from here and draw that. Then you would continue to use your offset to do your shelves. And you'll have to go back and forth a little bit with this one because you'll want to do the space for your shelf and then change it to the width of your shelf next with each one. And so you'll just kind of go back and forth with that. All right, so you'll do that all the way up. And however you want to design your unit is fine. I do want you to have shelves. And at the top here, I want you to do an arch. So the easiest way to do an arc is the start end radius. And you're basically going to choose, let's say I want it to come 6 inches down. I'm going to start here, come across to where it ends, and then move it to either up at this point or if I want it lower, however I want that. Once you have all of your shelves and everything in, then you're going to need to start cleaning up the lines. So this one is easy. I'm going to delete it. So basically, again, think through how you draw an elevation. You shouldn't. So at times in an elevation, you might have it where it intersects like this, but it's not. Revit won't work that way to make it 3D. So, for instance, if I hit finish edit mode now, it's going to tell me that these lines intersect. It's going to highlight them. And so I have to fix those before to let me change that. So for your 3D depth, you're going to do that in the properties panel over here. So your extrusion start 0, 0, that basically means it's starting against that wall plane that I chose. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this 2 feet, kind of your standard depth of your countertops with that. So that's where you will change that. And so then I'm going to come in and just clean this up like I mentioned. So I typically use a split element for this. There's also split with gap. It's a little bit harder when it's tight like this. And then once I've created to these individual lines, I can just come in and move the ends of them to match up. You can also use your trim or extend if you need to, just depending on if it's not connecting well. But it seems like Revit tends to connect a little better than sometimes AutoCAD does as you go through. But use whichever of those tools you prefer and works best. So what you want is kind of this solid geometry that's here. And now when I go to finish edit mode, it goes through and it highlights it. This is the point where we can make changes to materials, which we will come back and talk about that. But you're going to choose in here where it says material by category. And that will open up your material browser window. And you'll follow the steps that you use for placing materials, which we'll cover in another video. Once you have placed the material, then you're going to hit the check again, and it's going to come out of edit mode. And so now if I go back, so you can see it from the top and I can dimension it. I can also place my camera to see it in 3D. And it also will show up in my elevation. Oops, that's my old one. So when I set the elevation, it'll show up in my elevation as well.